now Betsy to make some observations on the process that has been used so far.
So my name is Betsy Salter, and I'm the mother of a 7th grader in Portland Public Schools, and we love our public schools. They've been really doing well by our daughter. And I'm also a very active citizen, and I really believe deeply in good government that depends on good public process and transparency. And it's just been a real whirlwind since the 2011 legislature passed Senate Bill 909. So I'm going to quickly review what all has happened in this last year. The governor appointed an education investment team and employed the education policy advisor and deputy advisor. The Oregon Business Association loaned a lobbyist to this effort, and you all were appointed to oversee the centralization of our public education system from pre-K to college. The governor employed an investment board manager and several additional staff members, and you all have now hired Mr. Ruby, our Chief Education Officer, to oversee all levels of education. And apparently, a deputy superintendent will also soon be employed to oversee K-12 education. The Oregon Commission on Children and Family Services has now been eliminated, with local commissions following suit over the next year, all to be replaced by the more centralized Early Learning Council. Our conservative estimate is well over $1 million has now already been spent in staffing and consultant costs to run this unprecedented centralization effort. In the face of this consolidation, we have also witnessed a lack of transparency in the development of policy proposals. This began with the Education Investment Team's work last year. In its final meeting in August, the team heard a set of findings and recommendations from a private group called LearnWorks. That group had been funded by the Oregon Business Council with grants from a variety of foundations, including special interest private corporate foundations. We also discovered the LearnWorks recommendations were essentially a carbon copy of work the Oregon Business Council and its subsidiary, Employers for Education Excellence, had already earlier produced in 2008-2010 with funding from the private Gates Foundation and other grants. The governor's investment team never took a vote on anything, including the LearnWorks recommendations, and they never provided the opportunity for public testimony. We testified at your first board meeting last November. Since the only recommendations you had at that point were from the privately sponsored LearnWorks effort, we encouraged you to conduct a year-long, vigorous, statewide public dialogue about the future of Oregon's public education. The answer to that request was a few quickly called public forums that were held in January. And there's no evidence that these forums had any significant impact on your subsequent education policies. You missed a powerful opportunity to ask local parents, teachers, and our elected school boards to join in a conversation about our schools' aspirations, needs, and challenges. And instead, you rushed forward.
And as you look ahead, it's obvious that outcomes-based budgeting will be a major preoccupation you have. And this is still another private process. The Salem Journal-Register mentioned that in a June 5th editorial, or June 9th editorial, that the meetings of the education funding team will not be open to the public for observation, let alone comment. We agree with the Salem paper. These meetings should be open. What is there to hide in engaging in the process of developing a budget? And before engaging in this work, we ask you to seriously consider a couple of facts. No other state has ever successfully implemented an outcomes-based budgeting process. This one hasn't even been field tested. Some of the same consultants commissioned to produce the earlier LearnWorks products are present again in a new contract that authorizes contract fees up to $300 an hour for consultants and authorizes total expenditures of $225,000 for these consultants to run the education funding team meetings. And only a tiny portion of that contract is devoted to seeking public input. The last task that they mentioned in their work scope is to conduct interviews with 24 stakeholders. A private process, the grand sum of only 24 stakeholders, we think it should be more open than that.